Also, if Emily, you want to come along. Oh, we're live, but I can't see any camera. Oh, God. So, hi, guys. Can you see me? And can you hear me?
Sharing the screen.
Crap. Can anyone hear me? Oh, no. What's going on? Peter? Help!
Is the camera? Is the camera thing there?
Yeah, it's just.
Oh. There you go. But that's.
It's not control sharing. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not it's not working. Can you guys hear? You can see me. Can you hear me? I can't see me. This is going to be really weird. Can you see both of us? Okay, how about if we do that?
We see you. Well, okay. Can you hear us?
Okay, can you hear us? Okay. You can hear us too. Excellent. All right. All right. Well, okay. This is weird because I can't see us, so I'll just have a bit of a fiddle around. But anyway, hi everyone. Hi everyone. This is so bizarre. So welcome to Mezcal Night. It's very lovely to see you. Shell got in first. Hello, Shell. Welcome. Peter and Karen. Kevin's on the tram. Good work. Nareem, Chef Andrew's away for work. So are you ordering grilled fish wrap? Yum, that'll be nice. A little bit of leftover guac. Fantastic. And you guys are going to have to tell me if you can't hear me or if we kind of go out of screen because we can't see ourselves, which is very strange. Anyway, as long as you can see us and hear us, that's the most awesome. Hello, Cotty and John. Cotty and John say hi, Kate and Gerardo. This is Gerardo Lopez, who is here to talk to us all about mezcal. Some of you will have ordered this with Kevin and got it in the mail, hopefully. This is our Matoro mezcal. Can you see that? Hopefully. That's so weird. I'm gonna get Gerardo talking, and then I'm gonna fiddle around with the computer and see if we can get to see ourselves. There we are. That's nice. Oh, okay. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. For some reason, you're up the top and not on the screen, but that's okay. So Cody and John are getting the corn chips from the Cheats corn chips. So hello, Sarah, and all the tricks. Lovely to see you. So we've got all sorts of things. Gerardo's brought us some blue corn chips here. And you might also recognize, some of you might recognize this brand, which is also another one of your babies, isn't it?
The first baby. The
first baby, La Tortilleria. I'll probably sound Italian when I say things in
That's okay.
Mexican.
That's okay. That's okay. That's a good start.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like pizzeria, La
Tortilleria. Yeah. Excellent. And so you guys have a restaurant in Melbourne.
We have two restaurants in Melbourne.
Yep.
One in Kensington, La Tortilleria, and then a Chilpa in Hyatt, which is the new baby.
Cool. Awesome. And we're here to learn as much as you want to tell us about this beautiful product. So mezcal, I'm going to start by asking you a question. Peter and Karen, that's the brand of corn chips that Peter and Karen have got.
Well done, Peter.
They haven't got the right mezcal, but they've got the right corn chips. So they've done okay.
50% there.
Exactly. So my first question for you, because I know that mezcal comes from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I know that tequila comes from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're both made from agave, and I know they taste different.
Mm-hmm.
So can you maybe start off by telling us what's the main difference between tequila and mezcal, and why are we excited about mezcal?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I think the best way to explain this is in Mexico, there is about 80 different varieties of agave and growing, because like with many other things, every so often a new variety wild agave is found, and then everybody just gets excited and starts making mezcal with that. But there's at least 80 of them, and one of them is the blue agave. And that's what tequila is made for. Now, blue agave grows in the north sort of central part of Mexico, and it's a very easy agave to grow in a farm way. And that's what somebody found this and said, oh, well, why don't we do a lot of this and then just industrialize it. So the thing with blue agave as well is that or tequila is that mezcal was already been when the Spaniards arrived to Mexico, they found two things. They found something that is the agave sort of wine, which was a fermentation. It's actually in Mexico we know it as pulque, which is a fermented agave. And it's basically the agave syrup, which is cool. So it's something like this. It's just the syrup, all those juices that come from the agave, which is really super sweet, isn't it? It's super sweet, but also it's a very good sweet for you because it's actually natural. It's all natural. It hasn't been refined, it hasn't been processed. Cool. So that fermented sort of agave syrup was called agave wine. So the Spaniards was like, oh, well, we're going to call that agave wine. So now we have our agave wine. And then they also found that indigenous Mexicans were the first people that were doing distillation. And the distillation was being done with clay pots. And imagine sort of like bamboo sticks. We didn't have bamboo in Mexico, but similar to bamboo sticks, another sort of type of plant that allow for the distillation to go from one clay pot to the other clay pot. Cool. So mezcal, or this way of making this distillation, is about 2,000 to 3,000 years old. Nothing comes close to it. Not even vodka or whiskey. Nothing. This is the oldest spirit in the world. But when the Spaniards arrived, they said, well, why don't we take all this away, because we don't really understand any of this. Take that sort of agave syrup, and then let's make it into let's industrialize it the same way that we do other spirits, and then that's where tequila came to life. Gotcha. So nothing to do with a traditional Mexican. It was just sort of like an amalgamation, like many things in Mexico, between new world, old world, and then let's get this out to the world. So the Europeans coming in and kind of changing it to suit their needs. So this is more traditionally Mexican rather than Spanish Mexican. That's correct. And, awesome. and for many years in Mexico, even when I was growing up in Mexico, so I've been here for 15, but outside of Mexico now for 25 years. So when I was in Mexico, mezcal was referred as the drink for the working class. Because the working class loved it. They can produce it like in small batches in their own communities. Every time they were going to their small communities, they will, bring their mezcal, and it was for them to enjoy, and everybody will have different, and it was very cheap. Because nobody will appreciate it. Whereas tequila was getting a lot of traction. Around the world, and then suddenly became, that staple of Mexico. Well, and now you've got all like the movie stars and people having their own tequila. Everybody has their own tequila. So tequila was very popular, but that has shifted now. In Mexico now, mezcal is more popular than tequila. Okay. And in the US, it's heading that way. Australia still has a long way to go. But at Moorooduc Estate, mezcal is definitely, if we're going to drink something made from agave, mezcal is what we go to, because I find it really fascinating. I want to ask you, because usually by this stage, everyone's got a big drink in their hand and they're getting stuck into their booze. So we probably need to turn this into a drink in some way. So how would you drink it straight, or how do you like to drink your mezcal? So I personally like mezcal to drink it neat. Just because there's a lot of peculiarities and a lot of features on the mezcal. So and let's try it neat, just because I want to explain people that are on the chat about what are those differences with mezcal, and what are the things that we're looking in mezcal, and why it's so different to tequila. And the first thing is we're not going to shot it, because that's not what we do with mezcal. In Mexico, we say that mezcal, we kiss it. Ah, cool. All right, so tell us how we do it. So what do we drink our mezcal in traditionally? Well, in Mexico, we usually use like small cups. There's many, and nobody could pinpoint exactly what it is, but here we have this very nice ceramic glasses from Mexico, and this is what we're gonna drink it on. You can drink it in a shot. Other people in Mexico will drink it in candle glasses.
Yeah.
And that's very traditional.
Cool.
So anyways,
Well, shall we get some of this in the glass? How much would you normally put in?
Just a tiny bit.
Just like that?
That's good enough, yeah.
Cool.
About 10 to 20 mils. Well, everybody's different.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you.
Now,
do you guys want a little... Megan, you can be in charge of doing that while we...
When you're looking at your bottle as well, one of the things that if you move the bottle a little bit, or if you're drinking this in a glass, you'll see how the oiliness on the mezcal. So one of the things that the mezcal has is its oiliness. So it will stick to the glass like wine. Yeah, something similar to that.
Awesome.
Now we're gonna.
Sorry, I didn't warn you guys about these little bowls because I didn't know. So you can do it in your normal glass. A sake glass would work really well, Cody.
Or a wine glass.
Or a wine glass. You can absolutely use a wine glass. So
yes.
you're getting questions. So you keep talking and I'll just check the questions.
Yep. So one of the first things that you're gonna get in the aromas, particularly for this one, is the all the herbs. You know, it's very earthy, and this is because it's a natural process. Even the yeast that is used for fermentation is all natural yeast. So everything it tastes like the earth. So we can do a small sort of kiss, which is a tiny bit sort of sip. Now,
do you want it to go on a certain part of your tongue? Or?
Well, people in Mexico will say what you want to do is first sit in the front, so underneath the tongue, and so you can get all the aromas and then pass it on.
Okay.
I put it on top of my tongue a little bit just to get all the different flavors, and then just pass the rest.
Okay. Cool.
So what sort of flavors are you getting?
I'm getting a real kind of smoky kind of a character, which I think is really lovely. And it's one of the things I love about mezcal is that smokiness. Also that herbal note that you're talking about. It's almost like, it's like really savory herbs, kind of grassy herbs. Almost, it's not oniony, but it's a little bit like chives. It's not as green as parsley, but it's got a little bit of sort of parsley coriander kind of a note to it, but really fresh and really bright. And it's almost citrusy, but it's not citrusy at all. So it's quite hard. The earthiness, definitely, I'm getting coming through.
It's very earthy. Yeah. That's spot on. And Kathy's saying barbecue.
Yeah.
So all of that is spot on. So the main difference between tequila and mezcal is that the agave for tequila is cooked in steam ovens. Okay. This one is cooked on the ground with different types of wood. And that's where the barbecue comes. So you know when you barbecue and then you have like different type of wood, and every oak or any of the other ones will give you a different flavor. Yeah. The same happens with mezcal. So every mezcal master will use different type of wood to make their mezcal, and that's one of the flavors that comes through. You know, so in this particular instance, we have oak, and that's what you're sensing a lot of that wood. But also because this is cooked on the ground, that's where the smokiness comes. Right. So think about a hangi, you know, how they have it in New Zealand. Yeah. So in Mexico, we dig a hole. It's about almost 2 meters deep. Yep. Put a lot of volcanic rocks in the bottom. Yep. Then set up all that wood. Massive fire comes out. Once those rocks are red, put all the agave there, and then close it up with soil, and then let it sleep for at least 12 to 18 hours.
Amazing. And
then you open it up, and all that steam wood is going to create this particular aroma, from the smokiness to the barbecue flavor from it.
Amazing. I did a bit of Googling, and the agave that's used, they look like great big fat prickly pineapples. So you put the whole thing in the fire? So
you basically, when Kevin and I were in Mexico a month ago,
they've just come back from Mexico. Isn't that annoying?
they took us to we were working. They took us
of course you were working. Business trips. I understand these things.
They put us to work, and we have to remove the leaves from the agave plant.
Oh.
And that's a lot of work. So basically, you end up with the pineapple
Yeah.
or the center of it, the
Yeah.
heart of the agave.
Yeah.
That's what you want. All the other things you remove them. Now in Mexico, there's a lot of projects for sustainability. So basically,
So
so
that's
you
the plan.
remove all the leaves, and then you just stay with the heart here in the middle.
Cool.
Back in the day, a lot of these leaves and all that was wasted. Now all of that has been used for biofuel and costs and all of that. But once you get the heart, it gets chopped into pieces, put in that oven, and taken out from the oven. And all the fibers that is put into depends. Now there's two types of mezcal. There is the mezcal that is the artisan one, like the one that we have here, and there's another one that is ancestral, which everything is done by hand. So the crushing of the agaves after taken out of the oven is done by hand with a big sort of hammer like this big, and then it just gets smashed, and then all the juices come out. For this particular one, machine is being used to get all those juices out, and then those juices, if you let them sit, you end up with your agave syrup. In this case, they get put into big vats with water and then fermented, and that's when the fermentation starts. Now the fermentation, where in the area of Oaxaca that we were, there will be there's a lot of fruit trees like pears and some of the citruses like lime, for example, and then that's what you're getting through. And it's all natural.
Okay.
So every place that they make the mezcal will be different depending on what trees they have around. There's no cheating here. There's no like adding yeast from this and the other. Not at all. Everything has to be natural. So you can have a mezcal that is certified like that.
Cool. Is that raicilla?
Raicilla, no. So raicilla is from a different. It's done from a different. It's in a different region of Mexico. So raicilla. So mezcal has a denomination of origin for about 8 different states in Mexico, particularly in the south center of Mexico. Tequila can be produced in 4 states, 4 to 6 states. I don't know exactly. And then other states that sort of like missed out from all of this, they started to say, well, I want my own sort of thing. And then that's where raicilla comes. That's where sotol comes. There's bacanora. There's many other ones that are not necessarily part of the mezcal region. And also their agaves may not be agaves. They could be cacti. And they could be other sort of, most of the time, cactus that are not classified as agaves. And therefore, they decided to create their own sort of type of
It feels like we're just like scratching the surface. Which is really exciting. We love this, in particularly this group. We love discovering new things, and we just love discovering that there's lots more to explore. So I was going to ask a question, now it's fallen out of my head. Cotty was saying amazing flavor, really expect it to be like tequila, but this is so much more interesting. And for me, this thing, I got interested in spirits via single malt Scotch whiskey, and I think that there's sort of there's a similar. They're completely different, but there's a similar kind of a artisanal quality to mezcal, and that little bit of smokiness and the complexity of aroma and flavor and all of the things going on there, like the differences between single malt Scotch whiskies that really speak of the water that they're made of and where they're made, because is the fire using peat or wood or whatever to roast the wheat. And I wonder whether, and this sounds like as well what you're saying, that depending on what's growing around the grove where the mezcal's being made, that's going to have an effect on the flavor of the finished product. Yeah,
that's exactly the same, and that's exactly the same. And is the handcraft, but also the skill of the master, which is the same happens with single malt. Is the person that is making it from selecting the actual ingredients and where they come from and why this one as opposed to this other one. Same here. The same goes into mezcal, wherever the mezcal comes from. The agave comes from. It could be sun facing, or it could, same with grapes.
Yes, of course.
It's exactly the same. An agave that has been, sort of north facing isn't going to taste the same as an agave that it's been south facing. So everything that goes into the process of making a mezcal is very, very important. And you have to tick all those boxes. Whereas for tequila, it doesn't matter, because for tequila, the process is so industrialized that it doesn't matter. It could be any agave. And one thing that is happened in Mexico a couple of years ago is we were running out of blue agave. So the tequila industry came down to Oaxaca and took all the mezcal agaves and then make them into tequila. And nobody would have noticed any of that because it's so industrialized, whereas you cannot do the other way. You cannot go and grab blue agave and trying to make it into mezcal because it's going to taste awful.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so Kevin has popped up and he's telling us that the Moorooduc mezcal is made from the Espadin agave, which is what 90% of mezcal is made from. The other agave plants are amazing, but there's less of them. And we can talk a bit more about that in a moment. But Craig, who is in Sydney, Craig, did you not order mezcal? Did I not sell it hard enough to you beforehand? I'm wondering, Kevin, if you've got some more of this that people can order after this session if they want to explore the mezcal. You might be able to tell me as well. But Kevin was taking orders, so hopefully you've got a few more bottles that team who maybe weren't brave enough to order beforehand can have a go at.
There is plenty of bottles. So
cool.
if you send an email to kevin@metoro.com.au, Kevin will sort you out. At the moment, most of the distribution that we have is for restaurants and wholesalers. So we're still obviously working in getting into the retail shops. Retail shops close to everyone.
Yeah, cool. And this is your old packaging, right? And there's a new.
That was the first one.
That's the first one. So this is the one that I've always had. But when you look on the website, the label's black now, and it's slightly different. So this is the original. I like the original, but I like the new packaging as well. It's very sexy.
I think the original obviously carries a lot of sentiment.
Yeah, of course.
And there's a few left.
Yeah. Now, is there anyone out there, and it takes a moment to type, but anyone out there who's got some mezcal and who's tasted it neat and is kind of going, "Cool, that's a little strong, that's a little spiritous for me," because I'm thinking also. So please let us know if you're not enjoying drinking it neat as well, because that's good feedback for us as well. But you also suggested that we could serve this as a cocktail or as in different ways. Hazel, Holly, do you have aged agave?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So one of the this is a personal opinion. I feel like a lot of the tequilas are aged because I don't think the quality is there. So by aging, you actually gain a lot of additional flavors from the wood of the barrels. A lot of the bigger brands when it comes to tequila, they get all the barrels from France, and all that oak goes into the tequila. Now the mezcal industry has started getting into aging because I think more and more people want to try different things. In my opinion, I think a mezcal without aging is very good, very respected. Aging, I think, will change. Now, when it comes to the agave plant, one of the things about the agave plant is the longer the agave plant is left on the ground, the not necessarily the better, but there's going to be a very different flavor. So people play a lot with how long they're going to leave this agave. Some agaves are left on the ground for up to 20 years, 30 years. Some of the endemic ones that are referred as wild agaves, some of them, there's one that is called barril, which is like the size of a barrel, and they weigh about 120 kilos.
That's amazing.
They are aged, they are aged in the sense that having aged by nature, and then they picked up and then made into mezcal. Yeah. There's obviously controversy about that because, do you want to go and pick all the ones that we have and then live with none? Yeah. And there's a question mark there. For us, the way that we have gone about our mezcal, we're using Espadin, which is farm, is the most used mezcal. But, there's many other that are, using the wild agaves. If you try a mezcal that with wild agave, you'll understand the difference. But then there is also the social responsibility attached to it.
Be careful. These guys, as soon as they hear about, cool places with cool things, they're like, well, can we go on a trip there? Can you take us there? So they've already got me taking them to Italy and Champagne, I think, at the moment, and possibly New Zealand. So watch out. We
can organize a trip to Mexico. That's not a problem. Let's just wait for the Aussie dollar to get a little bit better.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so I've got people saying that they're ready for the cocktail.
Oh, let's go for the cocktail.
Ready for the cocktail. It's a bit spicy straight up. but much nicer than straight gin. Absolutely.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards. But let's get the cocktail made so that we've got.
So also the people that have guacamole or have chips in front of you, this is a good time to try to get some of that too, so you can change a little bit your palate and just neutralize it before we go into the cocktail. So for the cocktail, I just want to. The recipe that we have here is just the simplest of the simplest, but in my opinion, it's one of the best because it brings the flavor of the mezcal into the cocktail, but also it's a healthy one. I like to think, but also the citrus. There's, in my opinion, any citrus will work very well. In particular, I think anything like mandarin, grapefruit, lemon will work very well.
Yeah.
Lime, it works, but I think lime works better with tequila because tequila had a lot of things more to hide, and the tanginess of the lime may get in the way of the mezcal. But any other sort of like citrus,
freshly squeezed.
Yeah,
and it always has to be freshly squeezed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, don't go and buy that stuff from the supermarket that's been freshly squeezed.
It doesn't work like that. So what we're gonna do is we have some grapefruit from Emily's garden that she squeezed for us.
Emily.
So what I do normally is I just do equal parts of juice, equal part of mezcal. Now, for some people that could be a little bit too much mezcal, so you can go one part of juice, half of mezcal, and then a fourth of agave syrup. Now, we have agave syrup here, but you can use liquid sugar or brown sugar as well.
So if people are making a sugar syrup, would you recommend a 50-50 sugar syrup? So 50% sugar, 50% water?
Yeah.
Because that's your kind of traditional sugar syrup for cocktails.
That would be a substitute for agave syrup. Because agave syrup is also being reduced too.
Yeah.
It's not this one not, but most of them are.
Okay, cool. Agave syrup is beautiful. So if you haven't tried it, do seek it out. It's got a lovely flavor to it, and it's great in a cocktail, but it's also actually really nice on porridge. I know that sounds really weird.
We have a lot of people here, so we're gonna do a big one. But I was gonna do a 40 mils juice, 40 mils Metoro, 10 mils the syrup. In this case, agave syrup. A lot of ice and put it on the shaker.
And that's for one drink.
That's for one drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys get that? Do you need them to say it again? 40 mils of the agave.
So a shot. Yeah.
40 mils of the juice. And 10 mils of the sugar syrup or agave syrup. Yeah? Cool.
Now in this case, I'll try a not too alcoholic one for here.
We've got to still be able to talk for another few minutes afterwards at least.
I'm making it maybe too big, but that's okay.
That's all right.
And then I will put some agave syrup. I'll just do what I think it is the right amount.
This is looking very sexy.
One thing that you find a lot in Mexico, for margaritas, because this is essentially a Tommy's margarita with citruses. People will do salt on the rim.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's in my opinion that's more appropriate for tequila.
Yeah, because we're hiding the flavor of the tequila again.
For mezcal, if you're gonna do it, just do half of the glass, not the whole glass, because you don't want that shot of the first thing that you want to taste is the salt.
Yeah.
Or people do a mixture of salt and chili powder.
Yes. So what's that called? It's got a special name, hasn't it?
There's one called tajin.
Yes.
Tajin,
and it's got a little bit of acetic acid in it as well.
It does have,
it
and it has sugar, and it has chili powder, and it has a lot of stuff. So
this is a very full shaker. I'm a bit nervous.
This is a very full shaker. I got too excited with the juice. That's the thing. I want to use all the juice. That's right.
I know. That's all right. They can have it. Once we've done this one, we can do some.
Or we can put more.
They can do some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And so you put thank you. So you put the ice blocks in. You don't strain it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's interesting.
If I had more space in the ice shaker, in the shaker, I would have put more ice. But
cool. That's all right.
We were trying to.
We can.
I can shake more for the table that I'm looking at them and they want
They're
to.
looking really thirsty, aren't they? We've got Megan here. She's back pruning vines for us this winter until August. So we're going to put her to. That's a good noise, isn't it? We're going to put her to making some extra cocktails across on the other table. Here you go, guys. Share that out, and then if you need more, okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that is delicious.
And the reason why I think citrus works very well is because you get that citrus first, but then the smokiness comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't get lost. Otherwise,
yeah.
I find with a lot of margaritas is that tequila is there just to make
get
you
drunk. Yeah.
Whereas with mezcal, and particularly with citrus like this, you get that smell, you get that flavor.
Oh, pink grapefruit. I never thought to use that in this kind of drink. That is an absolute revelation. Thank you, and thank you for the pink grapefruit, Emily.
Yeah, it's delicious.
It's amazing.
It's actually very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Not that good. It's always good. But grapefruit, mandarin, lemon. You're always gonna do a very good cocktail. In margaritas, people use control. I don't think mezcal needs the control.
I was going to ask you that. Thank you for mentioning that.
I think mezcal can be on its own because you want that. You want to treat the mezcal rightly. You want to have that flavor coming through.
And I guess if you've got sorry, I'm just fiddling around over here. If you've got the agave syrup to sweeten it up, you probably don't need the Cointreau to sweeten it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So this is actually, I like that you call it healthy. I know what you mean because it doesn't have all the extra bits. It hasn't got alcohol on alcohol. It's just the one alcohol, the one fruit juice, a little bit of sweetness to the
agave syrup.
Ice. It's a really simple cocktail, isn't it? And if you're using beautiful, here you go, Megan. Sorry. If you're using beautiful products, then you don't need to hide things with other things. It's all out there to show. So Cotty said we had lime too sharp, making the next one with orange juice.
Yes.
Alison's using lime and she really likes it.
I think that's a valid point. I think I say lime, not necessarily. I say no to lime because I like the mezcal flavor of it, and I'm more into. But I can see why it also works very well, and there's no reason why it shouldn't work.
I did some Googling as well, and some of the recipes that I had a look at online using mezcal suggested using a mixture of different citrus juices, so some orange and some lime, but sort of maybe 2/3 orange, 1/3 lime to kind of give you a bit more complexity.
Yes.
I can imagine that could be quite fun too.
Yes. That's what I do. At home we have a grated tree that has tangelos, lemons, and limes. Yeah. And I just mix them all together. And I don't know, every time I'm going to get something different, but it's always going to be good because all that mixture of citrus. I think citrus is the perfect sort of match for this. Now, in Mexico, some of the things that we use is like tamarind. Tamarind is very popular in Mexico to make things like this. The other one is hibiscus flower.
Yes. Yep.
And all of them, if you think about it, again, we're going back to the same sort of topic. It's a little bit on the tangy, but not super tangy. Like the tamarind could be tangy, but also it has a sweet part of it. Yeah. As long as we keep that profile tangy, sweet, I think it's gonna be a very good match with mezcal.
Cool.
10 Minutes by Tractor was making a very good mezcal drink with beetroot.
Oh, nice.
And I think it was amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I also read that if you're sipping mezcal, then a little now I can't remember what it's called. You'll be able to tell me. But basically, like a Virgin Mary, like bloody spicy tomato juice and orange juice together as a shot to go afterwards.
On the side, yes. So yes. So in Mexico, we call that we call it banderita, which means flag.
Mhm.
So we have a shot of your citrus,
Yep.
a shot of whatever mezcal you're drinking,
Mm-mm.
and then another shot of Bloody Mary, which
Okay.
is the tomato juice.
Yep.
Actually, in Mexico, it's not even tomato juice. It's clam juice.
Oh,
Clam juice,
cool.
which is based out of tomato, but also has
Yeah.
clam juice in it.
Yeah. I think they call it clamato
Clamato.
juice in America.
Yeah, clamato. That and it could be straight, just clamato with maybe a little bit of extra, hot sauce.
Yeah.
All that with that's perfect just to chase it.
So that's sort of like that's the mezcal. That's the more traditional version of the lick, sip, suck that people do when they're teenagers with bad cheap tequila.
And that's because you don't want
to taste the.
You don't want to shot. You don't want to shot the mezcal.
No.
You want
to sip it nicely. You're not just doing it and you don't need to bite on a piece of lemon afterwards to get the flavor away. You want the flavor to be in your mouth.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Cool. Now, what's everyone said? Everyone's having it. Loans. Oh, hi, Loans. You enjoyed it neat. Have you made the cocktail now? I think it's rather delicious, but I think this has really opened my eyes up to a whole different, family of drinks. We drink wine together most of the time, and every now and again we do a cocktail, and I think a lot of people kind of go, oh yeah, the cocktail's okay, but like, can we go back to wine? But it feels like we've just started a little adventure on how to, maybe we need to have like mezcal, a different way of mezcal in 6 weeks time. Sounds pretty cool. So Kate, the only way that you can order this at the moment is to send Kevin an email. I will send you guys the details again after the session, so that you can send Kevin an email, and he'll then invoice you. You pay, he sends it to you. He's doing you a really nice price. So that'll be awesome. So it looks like we've sold at least 2 more bottles.
Or there's also going to be repeats from what it looks like.
Exactly. If you've enjoyed it and you want to get hold of a little bit more, then I would take advantage of these guys' generosity, because it's pretty special, and I think it's a lovely alternative to. I'm not saying stop drinking wine, because wine's good too, but every now and again it's nice to do something different. And I know that Mum is a big fan of margarita. She's gone back into the kitchen. I'll be very interested to know what she thinks of this, because I think this is pretty classy. Oh, okay, you're in Noosa. Absolutely. That's fine.
No worries.
We can look after you.
Yeah. Not a problem.
So Kay usually lives down here on the peninsula. So she's just doing a bit of car rallying. What do you reckon, Jill? Is it any good? Have you had a taste? Delicious.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the sugar, definitely with the orange is much more balanced. So one thing that you find in Mexico is interesting, where when you order a shot of mezcal, instead of giving you a wedge of lime, they will give you a wedge of orange, and that's because of that. I agree, Kathy. It is way more balanced with orange, and that's sort of what we wanted to communicate today. In terms of it could be any citrus, but there's some that I think balance more the flavor. However, lime is also okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Particularly if you don't know your crowd out there and they don't know what really they're gonna drink, and they just want to make a sophisticated margarita with lime. Perfect. There's no worries. They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it regardless. It's gonna be much better than tequila.
Yeah.
But then if you have people there that they want to really get a little of that flavor of the mezcal, I think something like orange or like grapefruit, like we don't here, it just brings down that tanginess and then brings up the mezcal.
Yeah, amazing. Peter and Karen made the cocktail with lime because you had it. It was very nice. Can't wait to try another citrus. Absolutely. And I was also going to say, I think that we're kind of a bit spoiled here in Australia, and particularly down here, that all of us who have citrus trees that are producing fruit, I often think of a margarita or a mezcalita being a summer drink, but this is when all of our citrus trees are going crazy. So it's don't wait for summer, because when you've got fresh citrus and you're trying to work out what to do with it, this is a really good way to use some of it as a nice little kind of aperitif or through the meal. And I think that that's probably worth coming back to the fact that I'm nibbling away at these lovely corn chips and guacamole. And I think I haven't worked out any wine that I like to match to Mexican flavors as much as I like mezcal and good mezcal cocktails. So I'm interested in your thoughts about that as well, Gerardo.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So in Mexico, we don't drink a lot of wine, even though the oldest winery in America is in Mexico. In Valle de Guadalupe.
Have you tasted their wine?
Yeah, when we were in Mexico, we had the Mexican wine. And
was it delicious?
It's cool. It's very good. It's
good.
very good.
Okay,
No,
cool.
it's very good. It's
cool.
actually very good. Majority of the wine that gets produced in Mexico gets sent to Europe, so it's not something that you really enjoy in Mexico a lot. However, people are changing. Things are changing. What in Mexico? What the wine that or what food is used most with wine is seafood. And Mexico is a big producer of seafood. There's a lot of seafood. So imagine just sitting there, just having some ceviche, and just having a glass of wine, white wine. It's just perfect. I think in Mexico we produce majority of the wine that gets produced is white wine. So there is a perfect match there: seafood and Mexican white wine.
Yeah. I think ceviche that's a whole nother story that I actually, in our next box of wine that we're doing, we're going to be doing some challenging food and wine matches. And ceviche was one of the things on my list for one of our white wines, because I think that raw fish cooked in citrus juice.
Yes.
So you don't actually cook it with heat. And I know most of you probably know what ceviche is, but beautiful raw fish, and then you just cure it in the citrus juice, and it's just incredible. And I haven't made it for a while, but as a little tostada on a little corn chip, or just on a nice plate, it's a delicious way to eat fish.
It is, and it matches wine very good. So yeah, I love ceviche.
Yeah, awesome. Churro lime. Alison, I think that's really interesting. I was going to say as well with the lime, and I've been going around in circles, but Jill has a lime tree that we thought was a lemon tree for a while, and I'm convinced it's lime because it tastes like lime, but it ripens to yellow.
Yeah, okay.
And when it's yellow, it's quite sweet lime, but it still tastes like lime, not like lemon.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking that maybe whatever that is, it's obviously a hybrid, or it's something that's it's not a Tahitian lime. It's certainly nothing like the limes that you buy in the supermarket or the fruit shop. And I think that would work quite well with this, because it's got that little bit of extra sweetness. It's not as tangy when it's fully ripe. So if you've got good limes that are nice and ripe and have a lot of sweetness to them, it would probably be very different from a lot of other things. Rob says all lime is picked green, so we can tell the difference. Okay, interesting. Kay's lime tree goes yellow, and it's normal. They're just picked early. Okay, thank you, everyone.
So it's only the supermarket ones.
The supermarket ones are underripe limes, and we're all getting ripe limes when they're yellow. So that's another thing. I was wondering whether yuzu would work with this little Japanese kind of fusion.
Yep. And the other day we were testing the mezcal, and we infused it with finger lime. That was very good. That was very good. It's just the problem is the finger lime.
They're hard to juice.
But also over time, it just feels like they take over the flavor of the mezcal. Yeah. So it's just a quick sort of like infusion rather than a long infusion.
Okay, cool. Or maybe a bit less lime, a bit more mezcal.
Maybe. There's still there's so many possibilities there. Yeah,
absolutely. I feel like we could talk about mezcal all night.
We could.
But we've got to the 43-minute mark, and I feel like if you guys have any more questions, you've got to type them out really quickly, because I'm going to start doing the wrap up. But before we do that, just for next week, we haven't got a box starting next week, and I haven't come up with a theme yet. But would you all like to come back and do a wine tasting next week, or would you like to have a week off? So you need to let me know that. Hazel Holly, is it Holly Hazel? Welcome. I haven't seen you chatting before, so it's lovely to have you here. Hazel Holly wants to know, where is it available to buy? Have you got any retailers that you could recommend?
We have it at what's his name? Peninsula Beverages.
Okay.
The one in Mornington.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we used to have it in Dramana IGA, the IGA liquor shop. Okay. I'm not sure if they still have it there. The rep that we used to have in the Peninsula, the rep for another company that used to rep for us, she's no longer there, so I lost track of where in the Peninsula. But the easiest way is just to send an email to Kevin.
Excellent. Yes, send it. It's Yusuf. Hello, Yusuf. Okay. So Yusuf, you can send an email to Kevin, and he will be able to sell it direct to you. There was on your website, there were some stockists listed. Is that current, or is that?
I think that's a little bit outdated. We need to revisit all of that.
Don't worry, our website's dreadful and about 5 years out of date.
It's so hard.
It's really hard to keep up.
Even for Latif's area, it's so hard to keep track with. It's just hard, particularly when you're working with distributors. It's just impossible. So. But the easy answer to all of this is, you guys obviously very privileged to know Kevin, and Kevin will sort you out.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll send out the contact to Kevin again. It was in the email from 2 weeks ago, I think, but I'll send it out again after this session. So if you don't get it, just email me, kate@moorooducestate.com.au, and I can hook you up with Kevin and some mezcal. So easy. I'm so excited. I'm almost lost for words. So you can join Kate on her visit to South Africa to join. What? No, Yusuf. We're not going. Okay. So Yusuf really wants me to go to South Africa as well, and so that's another place on the list of things. So there's some agave farms in South Africa as well. Are you guys? Oh, that's interesting.
They have agaves in South Africa. I didn't know that.
That's very interesting. I think also I read that in Australia, there's a lot of places in Australia, particularly in the deserty kind of sub-desert area, Queensland, where agave could grow very, very well. Yep. So we may be seeing some products from Australia. Can it still be called mezcal if it's not grown? No,
I was just saying denomination of origin.
Yeah,
but also the other thing that I have found, and tasting some of the agaves or the tequilas I have come in Australia, is the flavor is not quite there.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily it's not the plant, it's about the soil as well. And you will know that from wine.
Absolutely.
You can
the soil and what's growing around it as well. Yeah. It's all interconnected. Terroir. Mm-hmm. Terroir for mezcal, same as. And the other thing that I was also going to suggest is, I think one of the reasons that mezcal is so specifically tasting of where it comes from, and I think this is right, so please correct me if I've got it wrong, but it doesn't get distilled to as high an alcohol level as something like gin or vodka that gets distilled up to sort of 98% proof before it's watered back down again. Whereas I understand that tequila certainly, and I think mezcal as well, is distilled to maybe 50 or 60% proof.
That's correct.
And only watered down a little bit. So you still got a lot of the flavor of the original ingredients and where it came from in the spirit. Whereas gin, vodka, the whole point of making those kind of white spirits is to get all the flavor out, and then with gin add flavor in with the aromats that it gets distilled through. So it's a really different process making mezcal, even the inferior tequila, compared to other white spirits, and whiskey gets its flavor partly from the production, but also from the long aging in barrels. Whereas we're talking about kind of. I think that I kind of agree with you. I haven't ever tasted or had any experience with oak-aged mezcal, but I have with oak-aged tequila. And I just think if it doesn't have good flavor to start off with, the oak just kind of hides things. Yes. And so in the same way with wine, we don't like to use too much new oak in our wine because we work so hard in growing beautiful fruit that speaks of where it comes from. We want that to be the main flavor. Yes. And I think that's the story that we're seeing again with mezcal, which I think is really cool. Yep. And Gerardo, thank you so much for coming and sharing a tiny little bit of your enormous knowledge with us. It's been amazing. We might have to get you back for a repeat performance.
More than happy.
Sometime down the track. But for the time being, lovely folks, we're going to love you and leave you. Actually, we had one more question. John wants to know if you drink this right through a meal, and Cody thinks it might be dangerous.
Well, it is depends on the definition of dangerous, but definitely you can. It just goes perfect with food.
Goes perfectly with food. Make sure you have a glass
Salty
of water,
food.
nice glass of water in between each alcoholic drink, and then you'll be hunky-dory for a little bit longer. Don't drive after having too many of these.
No.
That would be very silly. But it's been absolutely awesome having somebody else with the knowledge here instead of me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kay, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Marianne, thank you for coming. Peter and Karen, thank you. And thank you, everyone. If you're at home and you don't have to drive anywhere tonight, go and make yourself another mezcalita and kick back and enjoy Thursday night. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to try and end this stream, but I'm not quite sure what will happen because it's different from last time I used it. Anyway, thanks, everyone. I will send you an email with Kevin's details and also what we're going to do next week because I don't need a break. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.